Hello and welcome back. So in the last video, I bought a AliExpress cello from China and tested it out. And you can watch the video up in, I think, this side. It was pretty good for what it was worth. And I think Chinese cellos have come a long way. So, back in the days, for decades actually, China has been making cheap instruments. But I think the quality of the instruments have really improved drastically in, say, the past decade or so. And without these cheap Chinese instruments, to be frank, a lot of parts of the world will not be able to afford the really expensive, premium-made instruments from, say, parts of Europe or America. And so I think the Chinese people have done a great service to the world by making cheap instruments. Now, they started off not making really good quality instruments, but I think today it has really improved. And so I'm just going to do a little bit different video today, and I'm going to show you my old cello. This is a cello that I bought in 1999. Okay, and you can see it's kind of very red and very shiny. This is very typical of a cheaply made instrument. The first sign of the cheaply made instrument is the type of varnish or lacquer that they use on the instrument. This is kind of like furniture lacquer. Okay, and these kind of paintwork, I would say, it's not really great for musical instrument, but it's cheap to apply and cheap to mass produce. And I think a lot of lower end instruments have these kind of finish. Now, for this particular instrument, I bought it for maybe about, I can't remember now, it's probably 600-ish Singapore dollars, which is there about 400 US dollars back then. And you can see here there's a crack, but it doesn't really matter because this side here is made of plywood. So this crack is like on the surface, multiple layers of wood inside, and the inside's not cracked yet. Okay, it doesn't really affect the sound that much, it's just superficial. And then the top and the back, fortunately, aren't plywood. These are solid wood. It's more common to see plywood in, say, double basses, okay, because the instrument is just too big to make out of a piece of wood. So this is solid wood, fortunately, but the workmanship is not great. The top and maybe even the back, I have no way to measure it, is a little bit too thick. And so it doesn't sound great, but it's still usable as an instrument. The only thing about such instruments is every time you buy a cheap instrument like this, you have to get it set up. And that's the key. Like in my AliExpress video, right, the thing that I did was to set it up. Like without the setup, it wouldn't sound like what it was, right? If you just yank the sound post in there and just put the bridge on and they're all off in the wrong places, and you didn't put a nice set of strings on it, it will sound like crap. And so I just spoke about strings. Strings are the second thing that you do to an instrument like this, right? A cheap instrument. The easiest way to kind of upgrade it to make it sound a little bit better is to buy a good set of strings. Now, back in the day, we used the only budget strings that a student could have are like Pirastro chrome cores or Yaga strings, and maybe dominants. And dominants more like for violins. Cellos, we don't really use dominants that much, but those are the kind of budget strings that you get. And these days, I think strings has also improved a lot. And I want to show you two set of strings that I just bought. These are with my own money. None of these videos are sponsored. I pay for them myself. So I got a set of a Thomastik Alphayue Me. They're not expensive. They cost around 100 Singapore dollars, which is right about 80 US dollars. And then I saw this on AliExpress, and I'm turning into a big fanboy of AliExpress now. This is a Chinese-made cello string, and they're not the usual four strings for like $10. This is pretty expensive by Chinese standards. This is $50 Singapore dollars. It's about 40 US dollars. It's still a half or less than the price of this one, right? But it's, I would say, pretty pricey for strings that are made in China. And I think strings have come a long way. I don't know. I was told by somebody and I had to validate it. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to try this set here, right? And this set here. And by the magic of YouTube and video editing, you will be able to hear, hopefully, them one after another. You'll be able to scrub back and forth and tell the differences. Now, I don't have a studio recording setup. I'm just going to use this mic, and hopefully it can capture most of what I'm playing, but I'm also going to narrate and describe what I feel about the strings. Now, the strings, not just the sound, right? It also matters like how it feels to the player, how easy is it to activate the strings, how easy is it to play loud and soft, how easy is it to tune, and you know, how easy is it to you know, press under the fingerboard. So we're gonna try these two sets. So let's start off with the strings that I already have on the cello. These are pretty old strings that, you know, I just ripped out of old instruments and put it here. So I have some like the C string is a Larsen, the second string is a Spirocore, probably even Spirocore tungsten. The third one is a Larsen, and the last one is actually a cheap Chinese string. And it's a mess, right? I basically left the strings there so that I have kind of a playable backup cello. I didn't care too much about this instrument. I barely play it, but I have these strings on it. And I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna play it maybe open string, and then I'm gonna play hopefully a C major scale. And of course, let me just add another note here. I forgot to bring my bow home. So I only have this tiny little, I think this is a 1/4 violin bow. I don't know what this is. This is a tiny bow that I use just to set up instruments. I left my actual cello bow in my cello case at the orchestra. So I only have this, but anyway, let me just do a demo. Here's the old strings. I apologize. This bow is not supposed to be used to play a cello, and that A string just drives me nuts. So now we have heard the old set of strings here. Some of them are pretty good branded strings. Let's switch to maybe let's try the Alphayue first. So almost immediately, I'm having trouble with the Alphayue strings. I just unboxed it and took the C string out. This is a C. It's pretty thick. It is, well, I would say it's very thick for what it is. You know, it looks like really well wound and the quality is good, but I have a problem. Here's my peg. Here's the hole. Here's the string. String is too big for the hole. I cannot get my string in. And so I'm gonna have to go off and get my drill. I never expected to do this in my video, but I have to do it. I'm gonna drill the hole a little bit bigger so I can put the C string in. I hope I don't have to do it for all the other strings. The smallest drill bit I have is this size. And this is kind of way too big. And so I don't even have a drill bit fit for purpose. So I'm gonna have to use a little needle file. This is the file that I use to make the groove for the strings on the bridge. I'm gonna have to slowly file the hole out, you know, and then let's see if I can fit the strings after that. I didn't expect to have to do this, but this is probably good information for all of you who are trying to get to use the Alphayue strings. For those of you who have probably a pretty more expensive instrument, you're not willing to do this, that's kind of a no-go, right? You're not gonna hack up your instruments. There are people that I know who don't even dare to tune the strings. You know, they worry that they break them. So if you have to go and do this, I think a lot of people will be put off. But anyway, let me just get this whole filed out. Okay, you know what, guys? Turns out trying to file the hole out is harder than I thought. And I just put a drill through it. And okay, thankfully it's not horrendously huge. And I also did one more thing. Because the string is kind of too thick, I actually widened the groove on my bridge so that I can fit the string without damaging the string. Now if your groove is too thin, it's gonna be squishing the string, and that's no good. Okay, so finally now I can get the string into the peg and I'm gonna finally put on the C string. Okay, I've got the string strung on. I've tuned them with a tuner, and you know, the string might still take a while to settle in. So if you're listening to the video and you're like, it's a little bit out of tune, I pretty much expect that. I think from, you know, video string set 1 and 2 and 3, you're gonna hear different tuning, but that's how it is. I'm gonna let the string just settle a little bit. Now, right off the bat, there's quite a difference with the Alphayues. The Alphayues, let me just show you what it looks like. They have a pretty colorful tail end, and the top here is just all gray. Thankfully, I don't have to drill any more holes in my pegs. The only one I have to drill is the C string. But in general, the strings are quite thick. They're thicker than usual, especially the A string. A string is rather thick. It's like the A string is as thick as the D almost. And the G is very muted. That's my first impression. Like, I haven't even played it, but just, you know, just plucking it, you can hear it's pretty muted. But let's see how it sounds like. Let me just try to tune it a little bit more. It's gonna off-tune a little bit. The C string has it's, you know, quite metallic. The G string is very muted. It's like a really bad string almost. The D string sounds pretty close to the Larsen's. It's a little bit metallic, and I think it's a good test. I deliberately picked my old cello to test D strings because, you know, you're gonna use this on a pretty bad cello like this one, and so you can hear the difference. The A string definitely sounds better than the previous one, but still a little bit on the edgy side. I think it's the instrument, but you know, it's kind of weird. Like all the 4 strings, the balance is quite far off. Like the C string is quite okay. The G string is just like dead. Did I get a defect? I don't know. D string sounds okay. And A, okay, the A is a little bit bright, but that might be the instrument. Let's hear it. Trying to get my intonation. Okay. The intonation is something I'm not used to, the way the string is under my fingers, so it's gonna take a bit of adjusting to. Okay, and then I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know because this is my playing or the instrument, but I find it weird that the G is really mellow. You know, the C and D is okay. The A is actually quite okay given the tone of the cello is usually a little bit bright, a little bit scratchy. So I don't know what's wrong with the G. Now, so I'm kind of done with the Alphayues. Maybe I'll put it on another instrument and try, but let's try the Alice strings. Okay. Something interesting happened, and I wanted to show you this before I put the other strings on. I only just put on my C Alice strings, and I want to show you the difference here. Now let me just get the Alphayue box. This is the Alphayue box. These are steel core AD rope core GC, that's what it says. And I think there's only one Alphayue. These are medium tension strings, okay? So this is regular Alphayue strings that you can get anywhere. And I didn't buy these on Amazon. I bought this from a local store. So I hope they're genuine product, they're not fakes. Okay, the G sounds kind of wonky, but an interesting observation. Now, I bought this Alice on AliExpress, and of course there's a QR code. I haven't scanned it, but I hope it's original and nobody's gonna make a fake of a cheap string, right? So this is pretty interesting because these are all rope core. And the reason why I picked rope core is because this cello is kind of bright, a bit scratchy in sound, and the easy way to fix a bright, scratchy cello is to put a really mellow set of strings, and rope core strings are known to be mellow. Now I want you to hear this. I only just put the C string of the Alice on, and the rest of it are still Alphayues. And it caught me by surprise. Now listen to the G again. This is the Alphayue G, and this is the Alice C. And then now listen to this. Now this is a little bit flexible, the C string. But to my surprise, the Alice C is a good match for the Alphayue Gs. They are very close in tonal qualities. Very surprising. So I just wanted to show you this before I string up the rest of the cello. I'm just going to do the rest now, and if I see anything in between, I'm just going to share it with you also. Now I have the Alice strings up here. And right off the bat, while tuning it, the A and D sound a bit bright. Now, these are supposed to be full set rope core. I suspect the DNAs are not, based on the sound. They're really like twangy. I'm using my nails. That twangy sound, that's probably, it's a steel core, just G and C are rope core, okay? But anyway, let's hear it. In terms of tuning stability, it's a bit better than the Alphayues. The Alphayues, within a minute or two of tuning, it will still like, need some extra tuning to get up. But this seems pretty in tune. And so let's hear it. Here's the open strings. C. So you can tell DNAs are quite bright. Now right off the bat, they were quite hard to activate. So I had to actually rosen up my bow a little bit more so I can get the grip on the string. Okay, but the C and Gs, they sound quite balanced. DNAs. Now the D is a little bit bright, A is a little bit too bright for my cello. But let's play the whole thing. I'm sitting on a little stool here, so forgive me for my intonation. I don't even have the end pin out. But anyhow, the A is really a little bit still too bright for my liking. I think the Alphayues are better. But let me just play, just my Bach cello suite thing. I'm using this bow. It's not great, okay? Please forgive me for that. So, conclusion time. These two set of strings, what would I recommend? Now, definitely, if you can afford a string that's about 80 to 100 US dollars, go for the Alphayues, because in terms of playability, especially if you're a student, playability is more important because you got to get that feel under your hands, and the Alphayues feel a little bit better than these Alice strings. These Alice strings are a little stretchy, I would say. I don't know how to describe it. It's hard to get the finger down, and because of the rope tension. So you want a good feel under the hands. And of course, in terms of sound, the A string on the Alphayues still sound better than the Alice. Why? Because the A string on the Alphayues are noticeably thicker. And that's something that I think is difficult to make, because a thicker string to tune up to A, it needs more tension. You need to have more tension, right? It's physics, right? You have thicker strings to get the same pitch, you need more tension. So for the Chinese maker to catch up to that, they have to make really strong materials to be able to do that kind of thickness. There's more windings in the Alphayues, obviously. There's some things inside, and I don't know what's inside. But if you ever ripped off a string, an instrument string, and you broke one and you look inside, there's usually 2 or 3 layers of stuff. Okay, so It might take a while for the Chinese makers to catch up, but I think they're definitely catching up. I mean, the C, G, D strings on these are definitely better than the old Chinese strings I had, especially that set that I got from that AliExpress cello. You know, these are better than what I got. And so they are decent, but if you could afford the Alphayues, and of course, I have a friend who just texted me. He says, try something else like the Larsen Auroras. This is more expensive. Those are about $160 a set. That's about 130 US dollars maybe. Slightly more expensive strings. Definitely go for those better strings. I'm not going to try the Larsens yet. I just bought these. But if I have a chance, I'll do another review. Now, if you can only afford the Alice, I think it's okay for a set of strings, but maybe don't try the rope core. Try a synthetic or steel core strings. And of course, if you do ever try it, I would love you to leave a comment below. Tell me what you bought, okay, and what instrument you have, and what do you think of the strings. And maybe if you have a teacher, let me know what your teacher thinks of the strings. And then maybe we can share this feedback with Alice, and over time, the Chinese makers will be able to make pretty good strings. And of course, yes, all things go, when they get popular, the prices go up. But for now, I think maybe Alice has some pretty decent strings that we haven't tried yet, and I don't have all the budget in the world to go try them, but if you do, please let me know. Now, if I ever try any more strings, I'll let you know, and so please like, please subscribe, and see you again.